A hard conversation was had last night, and I felt so many different emotions just flood my entire body within 10 minutes. At the beginning, I was frustrated, then I was annoyed, then I got sad, and then literally within minutes, I also felt anxious. And it's normal to feel a bunch of different emotions. I mean, as human beings, we literally experience so many different emotions every single day. But this one night in particular, last night, there was just very, very, very strong emotions due to a particular conversation that I was engaging in. And in the past, anytime I would feel a single emotion, whether it would be stress, overwhelm, anxiety, loneliness, whatever it was, I would just push it down the drain. I would just pretend I was okay. I wouldn't speak up for myself. I would just say everything's fine. Or I would hold on to the emotion that I was experiencing and just go into the cupboards to self-soothe because I always knew that food was there for me. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know how to process these big, scary emotions. So I would either push it down the drain. I would say, I'm fine, like whatever, it's okay. I wouldn't speak up for myself, or I would just go straight to the cupboards and self-soothe on food. And last night, when I had all of these emotions at once, I placed my hand on my heart. Well, at first, I allowed myself to feel. I placed my hand on my heart, and I let myself cry. I let myself cry. My body felt all three emotions at once: frustration, sadness, and anxiety, and I let myself feel it. I let myself cry. I let myself feel. And that's a very vulnerable thing. And it's really easy when you're experiencing certain emotions to either be judged by other people or to be judged by you. You might say, like, you shouldn't be mad about the situation. You might say, like, what are you doing? Like, or you should have acted this way. Like, you know better. You shouldn't have spoken up for yourself. It's so easy to either judge yourself, or maybe somebody else is judging you for feeling a certain way. I did not judge myself for feeling how I felt. I wasn't trying to beat myself up and say, you shouldn't have said this, you should have done this. I just let myself feel. I let myself feel. I literally allowed my whole body to, I almost was shaking for a moment. Like, there was just so many emotions at once, and my body was almost like vibrating, and I just let myself feel. The tears just streamed down my face. I was like all stuffy. But I let myself feel because I know in order for you to heal, you must feel. And there was not even a single thought in my mind about needing to comfort myself with food because I know how to comfort myself. So as I was allowing myself to just cry, I reminded myself I am safe. I reminded myself you are safe to feel. You're safe to cry. You are safe to feel these emotions. Like, you are so safe right now. I actually ended up laying down. Like I said, I have one hand on my heart and one hand on my belly, and I just allowed myself to, I just took some deep breaths and I allowed myself to feel. I used specific breathing techniques to really regulate my nervous system and allow myself to feel what it is that I was feeling, because these emotions aren't scary. Like, we're so strong, like we can feel through them. And in fact, when you actually don't feel them, they become stronger. So if you have this thought in my mind of like, no, I can't feel these big, scary emotions, well, they're only going to turn bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger if you push them down the drain and you don't actually feel them. So I breathed, I allowed myself to cry, I regulated my nervous system, and literally moments later, after feeling all these emotions at once, I had a smile on my face and I felt so safe and so calm in my body. Why? Because I regulated my nervous system. I didn't push down my emotions. I didn't comfort myself with food. That just builds the emotion even stronger. It's a Band-Aid solution. I allow myself to feel. The reality is there's always going to be stressful days. There's always going to be days where, hard conversations will happen. And I haven't actually felt this way in a long time, just because I really don't, I don't really get myself into situations like this. But again, life happens. But thank God I have, these tools in my back pocket, so I know exactly what to do when I'm feeling frustrated, sad, or anxious. Because again, you're going to feel these emotions. You are a human being. Every single day, you literally feel like a million emotions. 1 minute you're happy, 1 minute you're sad, 1 minute you're lonely, 1 minute you're excited. Like, it's just life. And you can either continue to use food to temporarily make you feel better, followed by having shame and regret for letting your emotions dictate how much you eat or what you eat, or you can learn how to regulate your nervous system, how to actually feel through your emotions and process them in a healthy way. So anytime you're going through a stressful situation or a challenging situation comes up, you know how to change your state within moments. You know how to regulate your nervous system so that you are not reactive. When you're in a reactive state, you feel a certain emotion and you make decisions based off of how you feel. And those are, you always leave with regret. Like, if you let your anxiety control your decisions, it's never a good thing. If you let your sadness or your anger or your frustration dictate what you do or what you say, you're always gonna most likely regret it, right? Like, there would be so many times in the past where I would be frustrated or I'd be angry and I would say something in the heat of the moment because I didn't know how to downregulate my nervous system. I didn't know how to process these emotions. So I just felt a certain emotion and then I would say things that I didn't mean. I would get mad at Andrew for no reason. Or I would say things or I would do things like, of course, emotionally eat, and then you always regret it later on. You always regret it later on when you are in a reactive state and you're letting your emotions dictate your behaviors, what you say, what you do, versus regulating your nervous system and then responding in a calm, cool, collected manner. This is emotional intelligence. So I am so glad that I have these tools. Like I said, I don't usually get into this state. I haven't felt all these three emotions at once in a while, but I let myself feel. I didn't judge myself. Where are you judging yourself? I didn't judge myself, right? I'm just like, this is how I'm feeling right now. Let's feel it. Let's process through it. It's such a beautiful thing. It's actually so soothing when you just let yourself cry. You can literally feel so much better if you just cry today. If you just let yourself cry. So I am very glad that I just have these tools in my back pocket to pull on whenever I need. I am not scared of any emotion. I can be stressed. I can be anxious. I can be overwhelmed. I know how to tackle it. And the reality is, as I'm going to say it, ending emotional eating is not hard. You don't have to spend years in therapy and try to go back to your childhood. You just need to learn how to regulate your nervous system. Right now, you don't know what to do when you're stressed and you're anxious and you're overwhelmed. So the only thing that you know how to do is turn to food to try to make yourself feel better. But obviously that's not working. So inside of my Stop Emotional Eating program, I'm going to teach you the most effective nervous system regulation tools to help you process your emotions without turning to food to cope or being snappy with your loved ones as soon as you're stressed or anxious or overwhelmed. And you're going to learn exactly what to do in the heat of feeling stressed, in the heat of feeling overwhelmed, when you're anxious. Because if you don't know how to do this, food will always be your go-to. Even when you're happy, you can be celebrating something and it's just like, oh, I'm going to celebrate with food because you don't know what else to do. So once you learn these nervous system regulation techniques, once you learn how to actually process and feel your emotions, and it doesn't have to be this daunting, scary thing, you're going to be such a happier human because you step into the driver's seat of your emotions. You can comfort yourself without being in a reactive state, without letting your emotions drive your behaviors to either finish the tub of ice cream or get mad at your kids, which again, you know that you're going to regret later on. So I'm so excited for this Stop Emotional Eating program because once you learn how to cope, process, and manage your emotions, you're not going to comfort yourself with food. Once you learn how to better understand and manage your emotions, you stop fearing your emotions. Once you learn how to regulate your nervous system, you're less impulsive with food. So you don't automatically go into the cupboards and pantry to, get that quick boost of dopamine when you're feeling stressed. You're not going to procrastinate. You're not going to avoid specific tasks because this task is making me anxious or this is making me stressed. I can't do this. No, you're going to step into your power. You're going to step into your power. So I'm so freaking excited. We are kicking off this program tomorrow. So if you are listening to this right now and you're like, I know that I emotionally eat. I know that I comfort myself with food. I know food is the main source of joy in my life. I know every single time I'm stressed and overwhelmed, I don't really know what else to do, so I just comfort myself with food. You're going to want to jump into this program. So I will leave the link down below for you to join the Stop Emotional Eating and Self-Soothing with Food program. I'm so excited. So many of you guys are already inside. For those of you guys who are in Conquer, where you get access to all my programs, of course, this is included. If you're inside of the academy where you get personalized coaching, you also get this program included as well too. So I am so freaking excited. It's time. It's time. It's time to learn how to process, cope, manage, feel your emotions in a sustainable way so you're not constantly finishing the tub of ice cream when you're anxious or you're stressed or you lash out on your kids because you don't know how to process your emotion. That all changes inside of this program. So I am so freaking excited. I cannot wait to see you inside, and I guess we'll see you tomorrow.